2 months, I am getting married.
Yay!
Thanks. Jeff and I have learned an awful lot since we got engaged. For example, we have learned that I am a much better tax accountant than I am wedding planner. We've also learned a lot about compromise and how to get through the minor disagreements that come along with wedding planning. But the thing we've learned the most about through this whole process is communication. If you're already married, you probably know way more than I do about communication and how important it is. Communication is crucial in any relationship, but especially when you start talking about if and when you should get married. Jeff and I started talking vaguely last summer about getting engaged by the end of last year. But the tax accountant in me really likes more of a firm deadline. I like to know when to expect things to happen so I can start planning for them. Jeff, on the other hand, is a far more let things happen when they happen type of person. So he was a little bit caught off guard when we were cooking dinner one night, and I said to him, "Honey, I think we need to get engaged by October 31st, okay?" What? I'm sorry, what? But my reasoning was logical because I'm a tax accountant. You see, I had to start my wedding planning before the spring semester of school started, so I needed a couple months before that to get going with all the planning that needed to be done. So I would need the ring by October 31st. And do you want to go ring shopping this weekend? In hindsight, I probably could have eased him into this new proposal timeline a little bit better. We could have talked about it. We went from that vague idea of getting married and getting engaged to a firm ring-on-hand deadline that I really appreciated. And this change happened before we even got dinner on the table. Fortunately, Jeff is much more flexible than I am, and he agreed to propose by October 31st. And when he needed a couple more days, I was flexible enough to give him a 2-week proposal extension. Now, wedding planning takes a lot of decision-making. Some decisions are minor ones that Jeff really didn't care to be involved with, such as what color linens we needed to put on the table. Some of them are more major decisions, like what kind of beer are we going to serve at the wedding? Sometimes, though, when you're in the middle of wedding planning, you forget which decisions are the minor ones and which are the major ones. For example, our wedding date. I had, in the midst of all of my frantic wedding planning before school started, I had figured out when our wedding should be and had started planning it. I just happened to forget to tell Jeff when our wedding would be. Oops. I may have also forgotten to started telling all of our vendors when our wedding would be. I didn't even realize that I hadn't told Jeff when our wedding was going to be until we were driving out to a potential wedding venue. We were driving along and I was telling him the pros and the cons of the venue. The venue fees are pretty good, but the food is a little bit pricier than what we expected. They have a lot of outdoor ceremony spaces and a backup space indoors in case of bad weather. Oh, and they have our wedding date available right now, but they said that they start to book up quickly, so we might want to make a decision soon. Wedding date? We were talking October, but we didn't pick a date, Rachel. Well, the logical tax accountant in me looked at the calendar and said the first Saturday in October is third quarter close, so I'm busy at work. The second Saturday in October is a tax deadline, October 15th, so we can't have that as our wedding date. The fourth Saturday in October is just too close to Halloween, so October 22nd. Are you free that day? Honey? In hindsight, I probably could have talked about this decision of when we were going to get married with him ahead of time, or at least before I started confirming it with some of our vendors. Fortunately, Jeff is flexible around my timing, and he agreed to marry me on October 22nd. Finally, we also realized how important communication was in picking out our registry. We had very, very different expectations of what and where we were going to register for. I expected to register for things like plates and dishes at a store like Bed Bath & Beyond. Jeff expected to register for things like camping equipment at a store like REI. Now, in my mind, my logical tax accountant mind, it's pretty straightforward. We both enjoy living in a house. We need things for that house. I'm not much of a camper, so I don't really know why we need to register for something like, say, a backpacking sleeping bag. We don't need that sleeping bag. We do need, say, a waffle iron. We compromised by setting up his and hers registries. I got Bed Bath & Beyond, and he got REI. See, communication does work. Until we got to Bed Bath & Beyond, and I handed him the registry gun so we could start shopping. I wanted clean, simple plates for the kitchen, and Jeff wanted the 2-foot-tall toilet paper holding bear. I wanted new bed linens, and Jeff wanted the toy bear that roars when you shoot a ball into its mouth. Here's a bonus tip for you if you're getting married or setting up a registry soon. Don't go at Christmas time when they are fully stocked with every toy you can imagine. Does not work. And passing strangers are not helpful when they're egging your fiance to register for that toy bow and arrow. Now that we're practically married, I think that we've got this whole communication thing down, right? What could possibly go wrong in the 2 months between now and the wedding? And I think that we're so good at communication that we're probably ready for the next big thing, kids. Really, how much harder could kids be?